All right, I'm going to do this one really quick. So I'm talking about this article about atheistic logic. And I would think theists, you would have a better time arguing against... I understand why Christians believe there's a God, because they have the ability to just make stuff up. And that it just makes stuff up. So I'm reading this article, and I'm going to do a longer video on this article, but I just want to do the example that they use right in the beginning. So it's talking about the illogical arguments of atheism, and it starts off talking about a notebook, and an atheist wrote a blog and gave an example of saying that there is no God, or they practically is no God because there's no evidence. And they used an example of someone saying, "Oh, grab my notebook, it's on the table," and you go to the table and there's a mug, coffee mug, and something else, and so the atheist says there is no notebook on the table. Now, on the table is a part of the analogy. That's the part of the argument. You can't just ignore that. Now, when you look at what the Christian here who's writing the article, they then go and change it. I got it right here. It says, well, another atheist logical error. To use the notebook and table example, they would have to go something like this. Grab my notebook. No, there's no notebook on the table. It must not exist. No, it's in the office desk upstairs. Sorry, I hadn't considered that. No, this is not the argument. So fine. So now they go upstairs and we look for the notebook and it's not there. And then you say, well, it's in my car. This would be the analogy if you're going to go in this way. You say, well, it's in my car. And I go there. I go, there's no notebook in the car. Well, it's outside. It's on the grass. It's at school. And we look every place that you tell us to go look, and there's no notebook. So then we would be logical to say that there is no notebook. Okay? We every time you tell us to look there, we don't find it. So it wouldn't be logical to say, well, maybe you consider it being another place. No, every place you tell us to look, and that's the same way with God. Every time you give us an argument for God, then we look at the argument and it's not there. There's no evidence anywhere. Now, by the way, that just came up out the top of my head. The main part of the argument that you're doing, that Christians do, is they constantly try to tell atheists what they think. So the argument says that there is no notebook on the table. That's the analogy. See, so you're saying, oh, it's messed up logic. No, because if we go and look and it's not there, then there is no notebook on the table. Not there is no notebook that doesn't exist. There is no notebook that exists on the table. That's the point. That's the point of the analogy. That's the point of the argument. So if you're going to say, oh, well, the analogy should be, it could be someplace else. No, because the point of what we're trying to tell you is the reason they trapped it into the table, and they use the table as the example, is the table is the analogy of every place. We've looked at every single time you've told us something, and it's not there. So therefore, logically, it would be to say, well, it doesn't exist on the table. It doesn't exist in this universe. Okay? The table represents the universe. Now, if God exists somewhere outside of the universe, well, we haven't had any evidence of it. We only have evidence. We only know that this universe exists. We only know that that table exists in that analogy. So to say that it's somewhere else, well, then it doesn't exist. If it doesn't, existence means you have to be existing. The word means something. You can't say, well, it exists in a non-existent place that doesn't exist. So yeah, like imagine in your that's where unicorns and leprechauns and all the other gods exist, in that imaginary place that doesn't exist. That's where, outside of the universe. So yeah, that's my first point of this thing. It would be nice if Christians actually listened to what atheists said and then actually argued against that, like actually gave arguments based on what they're saying, not change the argument and then go, well, look how smart I am. You know, if I say 2 plus 2 is 4, and then you say, no, 2 plus 3 is 5, see, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how to do math, and you say, well, I didn't say 2 plus 3, I said 2 plus 2. That's my short one.